So Sheryl Swoopes is at it again. And by at it again, I mean she's running her mouth. This time she's coming after Sophie Cunningham. We all know Sophie Cunningham sent a pretty loud message. By the way, a message that wouldn't have been needed had the WNBA referees done their job during that Connecticut Sun-Indiana Fever game, instead of just being like, nah, nothing to see here. We'll just let everybody that assaulted Caitlin Clark just stay in this game.
What happens when a WNBA legend decides she's had enough of the petty fouls and tough girl energy? Sheryl Swoopes just dunked on Sophie Cunningham, verbally, and called her out for playing bodyguard instead of basketball. Caitlin Clark's name got dragged right into the middle like the world's most polite chaos magnet. If you thought the drama was over, think again. This showdown's got more heat than a microwave burrito. Stick around. This one's spicy, messy, and weirdly personal.
My favorite person in the WNBA. It's been a minute, but I mean, there's been so many things going on of late that, not talking about her. God, I almost feel bad that I've neglected her. Like my neglecting. I'm sorry. Sheryl Swoopes, I am so sorry for having neglected you. Not really. I should have been talking about you more in the dumb shit that you do, the dumb shit that you say, but I haven't. I try to let that stuff slide off, because it gets a little redundant when you constantly have to remind people about what a fucking idiot this woman is. But,
It finally happened. The moment every WNBA drama junkie has been foaming at the mouth for. No, not a surprise mid-season trade or a bench-clearing brawl, but something far more theatrical. Sheryl Swoopes, yes, that's Sheryl Swoopes, decided to throw herself straight into the reality TV meets sports universe by slamming Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because Sophie dared to embrace herself, play physically, and show support for Caitlin Clark. Oh, the horror.
Sheryl Swoopes, back in the news, getting pushback from fans, calling out Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, calling out Stephanie White. Oh, I don't know about coaching decisions, blah, 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 blah. Sheryl Swoopes, what do you have to say for yourself?
Apparently, we reached a phase of the WNBA where defending a teammate is now a federal offense. Especially the teammate in question is Caitlin Clark, the walking headline machine who can drop threes with her eyes closed and still get elbowed for breathing. Enter Sophie Cunningham, who dared to wait for it, exist on the court with some intensity.
By and large, that hadn't happened until the other night when Sophie Cunningham gave J.C. Sheldon the Steven Seagal Aikido move at the end of the game. And everybody lost their minds. Now, keep in mind, this is Sheryl Swoopes hating ass, lovingly hugging Angel Reese. And the reason I'm showing this is because Angel Reese gave Caitlin Clark the clothesline from hell last year. Angel Reese celebrated Kennedy Carter's slam in to Caitlin Clark. All right? Angel Reese racially shaded Caitlin Clark earlier in the year in a social media post, talking about she was too scared to fight.
According to Swoopes, that's just too much, too dirty, too aggressive, and far too supportive. Because God forbid someone shows loyalty to the most foul player in the league without getting side-eyed by the self-appointed Hall of Morality.
That's neither here nor there. Let's talk about what's going on right now with Sheryl Swoopes, or what's not going on with Sheryl Swoopes. Does she even have a job now? Like, does she even have a job? Did all of her disdain and public scrutiny and public hate for Caitlin Clark get her fired from everything? Hey, man, you said it with your chest, and now you got to eat the consequences of your words, because your words are not for the benefit of the WNBA.
But let's not pretend this wasn't coming. The moment Sophie stood her ground like a body-checking bouncer at a VIP lounge for three-point assassins, the basketball purists began clutching their pearls. And Swoopes? She went full broadcast vigilante. Not only did she slap a metaphorical foul on Cunningham's character, she practically dragged her through the mud with commentary that felt less like sports analysis and more like a roast session in a group chat. The irony, Sophie didn't exactly clothesline anyone into the third row. She did what every gritty player does. Set hard screens, boxed out like her paycheck depended on it, and dared to stand between Caitlin Clark and another unnecessary hit that apparently triggered the WNBA's Elite Opinion squad, who've now decided that physicality is a crime that comes wrapped in a ponytail and an Indiana jersey. Cue the pearl-clutching think pieces, hysteria, and legacy lectures from the front row of former stars.
Just go tomorrow. You're on the Las Vegas Strip. What can the Las Vegas expect yourself?
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so.
Suddenly, loyalty is problematic. Grit is villainous. And Sophie Cunningham is public enemy number one in a league that allegedly celebrates toughness, as long as it doesn't come with smirk and unapologetic defense. Sheryl Swoopes, for those who need a refresher, is a WNBA legend with a resume longer than a CVS receipt. She's got rings, gold medals, and a history book somewhere with her name scribbled all over it. And yet, with all that legacy, she still somehow found time to play middle school principal to whistle, calling out Sophie for behavior that barely registers as controversial in literally any other sport. No, she launched a full-blown smear campaign like Sophie had personally insulted her crossover. And the internet? Oh, it thrived. Clips of Sophie setting hard screens were suddenly treated like war crimes. Comment sections turned into courtrooms. Fans turned detectives, breaking down game footage like it was a Zapruder film. Meanwhile, Cheryl's name started trending, not for accolades, but for what was basically a verbal slam dunk in flip-flops.
You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen.
And what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC's lane?
It was a flagrant foul.
I think it's like defending the team, or how do you view just how it all?
I view it.
What makes this even more delicious is the sheer pettiness involved. This wasn't strategic breakdown or thoughtful commentary. It was peak, hold my mic, energy. It felt less like a post-game analysis and more like a roast battle that somehow got ESPN airtime. Sophie, to her credit, kept doing what she does, being aggressively average in the most confrontational way possible. And Caitlin Clark? Poor girl looked like someone who just realized she wandered into a Real Housewives reunion by mistake. The outrage was so disproportionate. You'd think Sophie pulled out a steel chair and went full WWE. Spoiler, she didn't. But that didn't stop Sheryl. She saw a fiery white girl with ponytail energy and said, "Ah yes, public enemy number one." No mention of the elbows Caitlin's absorbed this season like she's playing dodgeball with bricks. No outrage to the hip checks, body slams, and subtle MMA moves unleashed on Clark every time she dares to touch the ball.
Definitely the W, especially if Sophie Cunningham is going to continue to fight people for messing with Caitlin Clark, because it feels like Caitlin Clark is going to get treated in a certain way in this league for a long time. She's not a rookie anymore. Okay? She's already proved herself. She's won. And then there were some, ladies last night that were trying to go a little physical. Mm-hmm. And in last year, I think something we noticed, and I think a lot of people noticed, is when Caitlin would get bullied, nobody would do nothing.
That's right.
Nobody would do nothing. It was like, hey, they didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlin Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom!
Wow.
JC Sheldon, that's cute. You want to poke her in the eye, then push her into a boom, maybe thing? Go ahead. I'll take a take foul, and you'll eat the deck a little bit here. And then we'll get out. I love it.
And this is where it gets rich. Because Swoopes, who once made a living out of playing ferocious, unrelenting, and dare we say aggressive basketball, is suddenly acting like Sophie Cunningham is corrupting the sanctity of the game. This from someone whose highlight reels include enough physicality to make NFL players blush. Ah, the irony. It's so thick, you could spread it on toast. Let's call this what it really is. A power move from someone who can't quite stand the fact that the WNBA spotlight has shifted. Swoopes was a queen bee. Now the hive's buzzing around Caitlin Clark, and suddenly everything feels a little too noisy for her liking. Nope, just Sophie. because she had the audacity to play with backbone. And let's not ignore the sheer absurdity of the term dirty here. Sophie's not launching bodies into the front row. She's not playing Mortal Kombat under the rim. She's doing what any good teammate does, setting screens, boxing out, giving a little shoulder when necessary. It's called basketball, not ballet.